Before we start, please make sure to like this video and hit this subscribe button, so you never miss a story like this. And also comments where you are watching from, how many sons and daughters you have. Thanks. My name is Evelyn Grace Whitmore, and this isn't just a story, it's a scar I've carried since the storm of 1960. Yes, baby, I'm your grandma. And no, I didn't always look like someone who made apple pie and wore wool sweaters. I was fire once. A woman with a dream in her heart and fire in her belly. And I need you to know, before love made me soft, life made me steel. It was raining that night. Not just drizzling. No, God was angry. The sky split open like it couldn't hold its rage anymore. And neither could I. You forgot the damn suitcase. I screamed, slamming the back door so hard it rattled the windows. You always forget something when it's not about you, doesn't you, Marcus? I stood in the kitchen, soaked to the bone, shaking with fury. My suitcase was still out on the porch, wide open like a wound. Clothes wet, everything falling out. Marcus just looked at me. Calm, cold. Like I was a stranger in my own house. He didn't even flinch. He leaned against the counter, flicked the ash off his cigarette, and said, "Maybe you should have packed lighter. Or maybe you shouldn't have come at all." That was it. That was the moment. No gun, no slap, no cheating text. Just that one line. The kind of line that cracks a heart right down the middle. I walked over slow, teeth clenched, fists balled so tight my nails cut into my palm. You dragged me 6 states away from my family for your job. You promised we'd start over. I sold my piano. I gave up my goddamn music for you. And now I'm an afterthought? A mistake? The wind howled outside, rattling the windows like ghosts trying to get in. I was crying, but not soft. Not the kind of crying that begs. No, these tears were furious. He blew out smoke and said, "You're being dramatic again, Edie. That's your problem. Always making storms where there ain't none." I stepped in closer, chest to chest now, almost daring him to push me. "You think this storm is mine? This?" I jabbed my finger toward the window as lightning slashed the sky. "This ain't nothing compared to what's coming if you don't stop talking to me like I'm your secretary and not your wife." That's when he snapped. "Oh, please, Evelyn," he shouted. "You're not my wife. You're a shadow. A damn ghost trailing behind me. I didn't marry you so I could babysit your broken dreams." My hand flew before my brain could stop it. I slapped him. Hard. The kind of slap that echoes in a man's ego. He didn't hit back. But he laughed. He laughed. Wiped the blood from his lip and said, "Guess I finally got the real you to come out." Then he grabbed his coat, lit another cigarette, and walked out. No umbrella. No goodbye. Just silence. And that's when I knew. He hadn't just walked out into the storm. He was the storm. I stood there, barefoot, drenched, broken, and I realized something that I never told anyone until this day. I didn't cry because he left. I cried because I almost chased him. But I didn't. I closed the door. Locked it. And whispered back. To the rain, "No. You forgot the suitcase, Marcus. But I remembered something you never did, my worth." So when people say love is patient, love is kind, I say sure, maybe. But it also better be mutual. And it better be respectful. Otherwise, it's not love. It's control dressed up in charm. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the window, listening to the thunder roll like a war drum. I didn't pack another bag. I didn't cry on the floor. I wrote a note. Just 4 words. The same 4 words I waited years to say, but finally meant with everything in me. This time, it's goodbye. And that's how it started, baby. Not with flowers. Not with sweet words. But with a fight so loud, even heaven seemed to scream. That man thought leaving me in a storm would break me. But it built me. Because when you've stood alone in the rain, shaking from rage but rooted in truth, you don't go back. You don't beg. You become the thunder. And what came next? Well, that's where the real story begins. That morning, I didn't open the curtains. Let the light beg to come in. I wasn't in the mood to forgive the sun for rising like nothing happened. I sat in silence, wrapped in the same blanket I had when I watched Marcus walk out the door. My tea went cold. My heart colder. But I didn't cry again. Not a single tear. I was done giving water to dead plants. You know, people think the hardest part of heartbreak is the moment they leave. But it's not. It's the next morning. When the house is quiet. The bed's too big. The coffee brews for two, but only one cup gets touched. That's when reality starts digging its claws in. I thought maybe he'd come back. That guilt might find him. That his car would pull back into the driveway and he'd say, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean it." But no. Marcus was gone. And he didn't take just his coat. He took the man I thought I married. The next few days were survival. I went to work like nothing happened. Stood behind that dry cleaner counter smiling at folks who didn't know my world was caving in. Hung clothes, tagged receipts, pressed collars while trying not to scream into the steam. And every night, I came home to that stormy silence. No apology. No explanation. Just echoes. It was the third night when the phone rang. I ran to it, stupidly hopeful. Thinking maybe, just maybe, he remembered I existed. But it wasn't him. It was his sister. Helen. "Oh, Evie," she whispered like someone had died. "Marcus, he's in Savannah. With her." I swear I forgot how to breathe. "Her?" I said, voice shaking. "What her?" Silence. Long, heavy silence. Then came the sentence that knocked the last air out of my lungs. The woman from his office. Lillian. They've been seeing each other for a while now. For a while. A while. Like it was casual. Like it was just bad timing. But I knew what she meant. It wasn't new. He didn't leave because of the fight. He didn't leave because of me. He left because he'd already moved on. And I was just the last loose end he hadn't cut yet. You know what betrayal feels like? It's not a stab. It's a slow, burning slice. Like someone carving into your chest with dull truth. And it changes you. That night, I took off my ring and dropped it in the garbage like it was a piece of rotten fruit. Because that's what our marriage had become. A lie. A spoiled thing pretending to still be good. But I didn't burn his photos. Didn't smash anything. That would have made it his story. I had my own. So I started writing. Not poems or novels, no. Plans. Steps. Moves. If he wanted to disappear, then I'd do the same. But not with tears. With power. I found a small boarding house near the edge of town. The kind with peeling paint and a landlady who didn't ask questions. Packed what was left of my pride and moved out within a week. No note. No forwarding address. Nothing. He wanted distance? I'd give him miles. At the dry cleaners, I asked for more hours. Took night shifts, doubled my workload, learned to sew buttons, hem pants, clean bloodstains. Ironic, huh? Turns out, broken women make the sharpest workers. We don't complain. We focus. And slowly, the ache started to quiet. Not heal. Not yet. But quiet. And that's a start. One night, about 6 weeks after I left, a customer came in right before closing. Older man, nice suit, southern drawl. Looked like money but spoke like kindness. He dropped off his coats, then stopped at the counter and said something I'll never forget. "You press clothes like you've been pressing pain." I looked up, startled. "Excuse me?" I asked. He smiled. "Only a woman who's been through fire irons that smooth. My wife had that same look once. Before she got free." I didn't know what to say. But in that moment, I knew two things. 1, he saw me. 2, I wasn't invisible anymore. Weeks turned into months. I started saving money. Not for anyone else, for me. Every dollar went into an envelope hidden behind the third tile in the kitchen sink. I didn't know what it was for yet. But it felt like revenge. Not on him. On who I used to be. I saw a flyer at the post office. Piano instructor needed, local school, part-time. It stopped me in my tracks. I hadn't touched a piano since I sold mine for Marcus's promotion. But something in me whispered, do it. And I did. The first time my fingers touched those keys again, it was like waking up from a long, cruel sleep. I cried. Right there, in front of 12th second graders, I cried. But not because I was broken. Because I was finally whole. And that's how life slowly began to bloom again. No apologies. No explanations. No Marcus. Just me. And the music I had buried for a man who didn't know how to love anything but himself. I kept waiting for a day when I'd miss him. But it never came. Instead, I missed me. The me I used to be before I let a man write my ending. So I picked up the pen. And I started writing my own. It had been 8 months. 8 months since Marcus disappeared into the storm and left nothing behind but silence. 8 months since I'd rebuilt my soul, one paycheck and piano key at a time. I had no intention of ever hearing his name again. Until the envelope arrived. It was a thick one. No return address. Handwritten. My full name, spelled perfectly, not the way strangers guess it. The way someone close remembers. My stomach twisted before I even opened it. I should have thrown it out. Should have let the trash take it like it took my old life. But something in me said, face it. So I did. Inside was a cream-colored invitation. Embossed letters. Gold trim. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Marcus J. Whitmore and Lillian Hartwell. My hand shook. Not because I still wanted him. Because of the audacity. This man left me like garbage in the rain, and now he wanted me to sit pretty at his fairy tale wedding? Oh, but that wasn't the best part. At the bottom, in Marcus's handwriting, was a note. I thought it would give you closure to see how happy I finally am. Closure? He thought his happiness would give me peace? No. I didn't want closure. I wanted justice. I didn't tell anyone. Not the girls at work, not the kind old man at the piano school who always brought me sweet tea. This was my moment. And I wasn't going to waste it. I RSVP'd yes. Picked a dress that was sharp, navy blue, and fit like truth. Tied my hair up. Painted my lips red. Not for him. For me. The wedding was held at one of those big plantation homes that Southern money loves. White columns. Hanging moss. Chairs lined like soldiers. I arrived just before the ceremony. Heads turned. Eyes whispered. I saw Helen's jaw fall open. She hadn't told him I was coming. Good. Let him be surprised. They say weddings are about love. But this one? This one reeked of show. His suit was stiff. Her dress was louder than her vows. Everyone clapped before they even said I do. And Marcus? He didn't even glance at the crowd. Like he didn't want to see who was watching. Like he was hiding. But when they turned to walk back down the aisle, arm in arm, that's when he saw me. Our eyes locked. Just for a second. Long enough for his smile to fade. Long enough for Lillian to feel it. Long enough for me to win. At the reception, I kept to the back. I didn't eat. I didn't drink. I waited. Waited until they finished their first dance. Waited until people started to relax. Then I walked right up to their table. "Marcus," I said, voice calm as glass. He froze. His new bride turned. Confused. Annoyed. Curious. I smiled. "You look happy," I said. Finally. He tried to play it cool. "Evie. I didn't think you'd come." I leaned closer. "You invited me. I wanted to return the favor." Lillian raised an eyebrow. "Favor?" "Oh yes," I said, still smiling. "I wanted to say thank you." "Really?" "Because if you hadn't left me that night, I never would have found." Slowly. Without a word. "Why?" I looked at her, honest and wide-eyed. So much like the man who broke me, and yet, nothing like him at all. "Because he was a coward. And cowards don't say goodbye. They run." She nodded like she already knew. And then she asked something I didn't expect. "Can I stay? Just until I figure things out?" I let her. Because deep down, I think I needed her as much as she needed me. But peace doesn't come without shadows. About a month later, while cleaning out my attic, Amelia found something else. Another box. One I'd shoved behind suitcases and buried under years. Inside were old letters. From me. To Marcus. Letters I never sent. She read them. I found her crying in the hallway, clutching the papers like they were proof that love used to exist. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For what he did to you." I knelt down. Took her hands. "You don't carry his sins. You carry his eyes. His smile. And maybe, just maybe, you get to rewrite what he ruined." Some stories end in storms. But mine? Mine found sunlight in the eyes of the very person I never thought I'd meet. Not revenge. Not retribution. But something quieter. Something softer. Redemption. My name is Evelyn Whitmore. And this is the part one never thought I'd live long enough to tell. Because for a long time I thought my story ended in that storm. That I would always be the woman left behind. That the rain would keep falling in my bones, long after the clouds were gone. But it didn't. Because life, it turns out, has its own rhythm. And sometimes, when one song ends, a new one begins. Even if you don't know the melody yet. The night Amelia turned 18, I baked a chocolate cake, just like the one my mother used to make. She laughed when she saw it. "You did all this for me?" she asked, her eyes glassy. "No," I smiled, "I did it for us." We ate at the kitchen table. The same one where I'd once waited for a man who never came home. Only this time I wasn't waiting. I was present. I was free. And when she blew out her candles, I asked her what she wished for. She looked at me and said, "To be nothing like him, but everything like you." I didn't cry. Not right then. But later, in the quiet. I did. A few weeks after that, we took a trip. Just her and me. No maps. No deadlines. I wanted to show her something. Something unfinished. We drove 2 hours to that old roadside gas station, the one where Marcus had left me, drenched and shaking all those years ago. It hadn't changed much. Same rusted pumps. Same flickering sign. Same ghost of a storm in the air. Amelia stepped out of the car first, confused. "What is this place?" "This," I said, "is where I lost everything, and decided to find myself instead." She walked beside me in silence as we crossed the lot. I pointed to the exact spot where the truck had pulled away. And then, I did something I never thought I would. I opened my purse, and pulled out a folded letter. "My last one to him," I whispered. Amelia watched as I set it down on the ground, held by a small rock. A goodbye he never earned, but one I finally had the strength to give. "Why now?" she asked. I looked at her. This brave, messy, beautiful girl who came from wreckage, and turned it into hope. Because I'm done carrying ghosts. And because this story? It belongs to you now, too. And now, here we are. You asked me, sweetheart, to tell you a story for your graduation speech. Something real. Well, this was it. Not a fairy tale. Not a perfect romance. But a story of leaving. Of surviving. Of building something sacred from the ashes someone else left behind. You see, people will leave. Even the ones who say they love you. They'll leave with no warning. They'll leave during the storm. They'll leave you in the storm. But that's not where your story ends. No, darling, that's where it begins. Because you are not defined by who walked away. You are defined by who you became when they did. I never remarried. Never needed to. Because I learned how to be whole on my own. And more importantly, I gave that wholeness to someone else who needed it. Amelia went on to become a therapist. Specializes in trauma. Says music saved her life. Says I did. But really, we saved each other. And now, she's the one telling me when to rest. She's the one giving me the advice. She kisses my forehead like I used to kiss hers. And every year, on the same rainy day in April, we light a candle. Not for him. But for the girl I used to be, the one who stood in the storm and finally whispered back. Goodbye. So if you ever find yourself abandoned, if the person you trusted most turns their back and disappears into the night, don't chase them. Don't wait for closure that won't come. Don't stand in the rain hoping they'll come back with an umbrella. Be your own shelter. Stand tall. Stand still. Let the storm pass. And when it does, look up, wipe your tears, and say the word that sets you free. Goodbye.